I wonder when she'll die. I wish that day would come sooner.
What will we do first when the inheritance becomes ours?
Watching my daughter and son-in-law have this conversation with guffaws, my will to live started to fade. I'm a widow in my late 60s. My husband left this world at the young age of 50. After my husband, who had been running a shop, passed away, I took over it. However, my strength is reaching its limit, and I closed the shop last year. We had a daughter between us who got married to a man 3 years older than her at 25 and left the house. Having retired from running the shop, I was enjoying my quiet retirement life without any worries. But one day, suddenly, I received a call from my only daughter who had left home after getting married. I need your help, Mom. What happened? My husband's company went bankrupt. My son-in-law was a salesman at a major corporation. It was a stable company with generous benefits, and my daughter seemed to be confident about her future life, but it seems the company went bankrupt due to the effects of long-term recession. And my daughter and her husband, who had been living in the company's housing, lost their home due to the bankruptcy. Don't worry, you can come back home. I readily accepted the idea of living together with my daughter and son-in-law. I really appreciate it, Mom. Lisa, I will find a job and move out as soon as possible. Sorry for your inconvenience. Looking at my daughter's worried expression made me feel hurt too. My son-in-law kept his head down with a remorseful expression. Never mind me. Live comfortably in this house without any worries. It must have been tough for you. Take your time to find work. Little did I know that I would regret telling my daughter and son-in-law these words. At the time, I was convinced that we could live together well, as they seemed grateful. How long are you planning to lounge around? This was half a year after I started living with my daughter and her husband. During the day, I became irritated with someone who was lazing around on the sofa and doing nothing, and I couldn't help but speak out. That person was my son-in-law. He had been diligently job hunting right after they moved in, but it was not going well, and he didn't even go to the job center those days. Eventually, he stopped going out, and he got used to just lounging around on the sofa all day. He even grew a scruffy beard and became a genuine shut-in. Are you job hunting? Can you please respond to me? My son-in-law, who used to behave humbly and politely, was no longer there. He only showed a clearly displeased expression at my words, and he didn't reply. Because he acted as if he was not listening to any words from me, we stopped having conversations recently. Mom, are you nagging him again? Stop, it's annoying. My daughter came down from the second floor and lectured me elegantly. Do you guys even intend to find new jobs? It's been half a year since we started living together. We are looking. It's hard to find a new job right away due to the recession. I sighed in exasperation as my daughter, literally steaming and snorting, vehemently insisted that she was right. Although she did help with housework like cooking and cleaning, she, like her husband, was not proactive about going out to work. Since I had been living a free and easy life on my pension, I certainly couldn't afford to support them. Day by day, there came a limit to the amount of money I could dig into the sales of the store that I had saved for my retirement. Having had been relied by the daughter and son-in-law for so long, my days were filled with impatience. That being said, simply kicking them out of the house wasn't an option, and I couldn't figure out what was the right action in this situation. Maybe it was these daily pressures that were taking a toll on my body. What's wrong, Mom? One day, while at home, I collapsed in front of my daughter. When I came to, I saw a white ceiling. Glancing to my side, my daughter and her husband were looking at me with worried eyes. According to my doctor, my diagnosis was cancer. It was already too advanced to treat. It was terminal cancer. You should prepare for a life expectancy of about 6 months. Not only was I diagnosed, but I was also given a prognosis at the same time. I was so flustered, I could only laugh to hide my shock. No way, Mom! I watched my daughter, who broke down in tears upon hearing about my life expectancy, with very calm eyes. Lisa, I'm terribly sorry for all this time. My son-in-law turned to me and shed tears. We've been relying on our kind mother all this time, I'm sorry. My daughter, crying, apologized to me along with her husband. We'll change our ways, find jobs, and work hard from now on. Looking at the two of them, showing signs of remorse, I felt relieved. Finally, my feelings had gotten through. Although I didn't have much time left to live, if my cancer diagnosis led my daughter and her husband to repent, I could see it as a good thing. If you've understood, that's all I need. From now on, you two need to work together and try your best. I decided to spend the time I had left in the house filled with memories of my husband. I was anxious about life with cancer, but with home medical care and my daughter's dedicated nursing, I was able to spend each day in peace. The words of my daughter's husband, who said he would change his mind, were kept. He shaved his beard, dressed up, and seemed to be working hard on job hunting every day. That's how it appeared to me. However, one day, waking up in the middle of the night and wanting to go to the bathroom, I was surprised by the conversation that I heard from my daughter and her husband's bedroom. I don't really have to look for a job, do I? Of course not. We'll soon inherit. We are lucky, aren't we? I thought I might have misheard the conversation that should have been heard. But the more I concentrated and listened, the more I knew I wasn't mistaken. Until Mom passed away, pretend to be job hunting. Yeah, I'll do that. If we don't show that we've changed our hearts, we won't get the inheritance. That's right. If we don't get the inheritance, I won't do this kind of caregiving. My legs went weak. The one saying such cold lines couldn't be my loving daughter. The more I wanted to believe I had misheard, the more the harsh reality was forced upon me. Knowing that the daughter I had always loved was no longer there, I went back to my room and fell asleep hugging a family photo of my daughter from when she was little. Several weeks have passed since that day, and I told my daughter and her husband that I wanted to talk to them. What do you want to talk about? Who's this man, Mom? My daughter seemed suspicious of the man in the suit standing next to me. This is the lawyer I've hired. He's been helping me a lot with the management of the store. A lawyer? While watching my daughter and her husband become more and more suspicious, I started to speak with a smile. I want to talk about a lifetime gift with the three of us. I thought it necessary to talk properly while I can still make clear decisions. As I said so, I made sure to see the twisted expression on my daughter and her husband's faces. Mom, let's not talk about inheritance. It's a sad conversation. Looking at my daughter, who had returned to her usual worried expression for me in the next moment, I watched her with a calm smile. Let's do it now. It's an important conversation. Eric, please begin. Understood. The lawyer then started to explain the details of the lifetime gift. While maintaining a calm expression, my daughter and her husband couldn't hide their joy. However, their faces gradually turned pale. Stop for a moment. What is this explanation? As the lawyer's talk was about to end, my daughter cut in. Her voice sounded shaky, so I gently told her, What's wrong? Is there something that bothered you? There's nothing to be bothered about. My daughter slammed her hands on the table. The inheritance we are going to receive is very little. I asked the lawyer to make the lifetime gift to my daughter and her husband about 20% of my total assets. Mom, this is terrible. It's ridiculous to leave us such a small inheritance. We've been thinking about you all the time. To my daughter and her husband, who was saying whatever they liked, I showed my cold face for the first time. Exactly. In order to get the inheritance, you two were trying very hard. The expressions of the married couple, my daughter and my son-in-law, stiffened instantly. Mom, what are you saying? Did you think I didn't notice anything? I took a voice recorder. When I showed them in it, they noticed the records written on it, crudely laughing while saying that they had been providing dedicated care and job hunting solely to get their hands on the inheritance. Yes. Since the day I received that shock, I had memorized their conversations by a voice recorder and gathered evidence so they could not pretend not to know or make excuses. You must have had a hard time, both of you, doing the caregiving and job hunting that you didn't want to do. The voice recorder revealed my daughter's real words and attitudes, laughing and saying it would be nice if I died soon. Lisa, please don't take it seriously. Mom, we were just joking. Both of you, be quiet. I firmly told my daughter and her husband, who were still making excuses even after regarding the evidence. As for the inheritance, it is as the lawyer explained. The lawyer handed the couple a document detailing the inheritance. I can't agree to this. My daughter ripped the paper to shreds and threw it away. This is so unfair. If you are serious about this, I'll challenge your will. You lack the ability. The most common reason used to set a will aside is to claim your relative is not sane. I was appalled at my daughter, who felt a sense of superiority, believing she could get more inheritance by claiming her right as my child. You're sure to thoroughly investigate information that benefits you, don't you? What? Do you really think I'm totally ignorant? I had also acquired knowledge, thinking something like this might happen. I could easily imagine that the two of them would try to secure their inheritance as much as possible. You can challenge my will, but almost all of my property is gone. What do you mean? I had been doing everything I could to use up the inheritance. I had changed the funeral plan to a high-cost one and chose a high-class hospital for the hospice care to reduce the inheritance. Because there was not much left of the inheritance if she challenged my will, the amount wouldn't be much different from what she was getting. That can't be. Understanding that only a small portion of the inheritance would be left to them, the couple were furious and even started trembling. So, I'm going to let go of this house and spend my time in a hospital for palliative care. You should also decide where you'll move to soon. Unlike me, who had a refreshing smile, the couple were taken aback for a while and then said, You monster! Is this something a parent does? I can't believe it! They were being disrespectful with their foul words. If I'm a monster, what does that make you, who wish for your own mother's death for the sake of inheritance? These words, which I fired at her while staring into my daughter's eyes, made her flinch. If you still want to say something, I'll charge you for all the living expenses during the time we lived together. When I asked the lawyer if that would be possible, he nodded emphatically. Watching my interaction with the lawyer, the couple finally dropped their shoulders. After a while, as I had told them, I was admitted to a hospital where I could receive palliative care. The couple continued to demand money persistently after that, but I asked the security guard to get rid of them at the gate. I was deeply hurt by the horrible actions of my daughter. Even after I was admitted to the hospital, I was depressed, but being surrounded by the kindness of the nurses and staff, I gradually regained my strength. Now I am spending the rest of my life peacefully.